Hey everybody, we're back. Who's we're? Who are we?
We're
Yeah.
Adam and Michelle Carey.
Yeah, hey guys, Adam and Michelle from adamandmichellecarey.com, and thanks for joining us for Facebook Live. We're going to be doing these for the month of September, Monday through Thursday, 4 at 4 is what we're calling it. 4 o'clock Pacific, 6 Central, and 7 Eastern. And we're going to have a lot of people, I'm going to scoot back a little bit, a lot of people catching the replay.
Yeah.
So for those that... We are Facebook Live, so we lost our tripod there. Hang tight.
I thought it was falling for a minute. That's good.
Hey Mike, hey Junior. Is that going to work?
Yeah. Wonder how that looked on their end.
Yeah, that was like a roller coaster. So for those that don't know us, Michelle, quickly tell them our life story.
Well, just real quickly, nice to meet you if you're just joining us. Adam and I have been in the network marketing profession for, about 9 years?
Almost 9 years, yeah.
Yep, and because of network marketing, we're able to quit our full-time jobs. Now we're stay-at-home parents to our daughter, Hannah Grace, and our passion is to help other people get the freedom that they want, whether it's freedom of time, freedom from fear, and other things. Yeah, punch fear in the face.
So last March, we actually released a book. It was written by accident. We're going to talk a little bit about that, just with some of these laws that we're covering in our Facebook Live. But it became a bestseller, so we love the profession. We love the people, and we're just having a lot of fun. So the purpose of these Facebook Lives for the month of September is we're talking all about, I know it's going to be backwards because the camera's on selfie mode, but we're covering John Maxwell's book, The 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth. This is, I believe, his bestseller, or at least one of his bestsellers. And just in case you don't know who John Maxwell is, you should know who he is, but he's the world's #1 thought leader on leadership. The dude has written close to 80 books, millions of copies sold. He mentors Fortune 500 companies, and he's doing something that's about to elevate our profession to a whole nother level. See, the type of credibility that John Maxwell brings is like none other. You know, you could win awards in your company, but when John Maxwell endorses something, like, people listen. Yeah. And coming up on September the 30th, he is doing a live simulcast event called Leaders Multiply, and it's going to be for the network marketing profession specifically. So thanks for jumping on, guys. I know some of you are at work, so you might be sneaky watching this at work. So Scotty, Lori, thanks for jumping on. But on September the 30th, John Maxwell is doing a live simulcast event. You can get details at multiplywithmaxwell.com. The link is above you. And there's going to be 60 network marketing leaders that they're bringing in, and John's going to be teaching his 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth related specifically to network marketing. So you might not be in network marketing, but either way, you're going to get intense value from this book or from the simulcast or whatever you choose to plug into. And on top of that, Michelle and I, we're getting to be a part of that. So we're like excited. Leading up to this event, we're like, what could we do? So one of the things we're doing is we're rereading this book that we read in 2012, but we're also wanting you guys to join us in some accountability. So tell them a little bit about that before we dive into
the accountability group.
Yeah, what we're doing on Facebook.
Mary had a question, and it's one day.
Yeah, so the simulcast is all day Friday, September the 30th. Go to multiplywithmaxwell.com. You can get the details. You can also get group tickets as well. And
what's cool about it is you have access for 30 days. So you don't have to sit there for 8 to 12 hours. You could do it in chunks of time for 30 days, and then even get your team over to your house and watch it together. But anyway,
Wait, real quick on that, on the recap, because it's real important. There's going to be breakout sessions added on to the 30-day access. So even if you sit there and watch everything, a few days later they're going to add some content because they're not going to have time to give all 60 speakers the stage. There's only going to be 15 of them that actually present on the stage. So Shannon's already got his ticket, and I would highly recommend it because it's going to go up to $99. Right now it's $67 for that. But I just wanted to mention those couple details.
Yep. So anyway, multiplywithmaxwell.com if you want more information on that. Now, I'm going to talk about our private Facebook group and the accountability group. So hopefully you're in the group. If not, just drop a line and we'll add you. But basically what we're going to do is we're going to just share on that Facebook group and be accountable to each other, and even share our reflections that you're comfortable with sharing. But during this time, during the 24-day challenge. And the challenge is we're asking you to do a media fast. So last night was my first day of the media fast, which was really hard because I love getting on Pinterest. And instead of Pinterest, I went straight to reading, and it was awesome. Because,
whatever that is.
Yeah. It was really amazing because I actually slept better. And so if you did do a fast last night, let us know how you did, how it was with you.
Who's honest enough to say they didn't watch a movie, TV? Now, let's clarify, they can't fast Facebook because this is we're on Facebook right now. But the needless scrolling and the wasted time, you could be reading something. Well, obviously this book, you're going to blow through this book in a month easy. So read something else if you already get through that. But
so anyway, that's the challenge for 24 days. Fast TV, movies, the news, Netflix. In that time that you're going to what you're going to do is replace it with reading, and then join our private Facebook group, and we're going to do more discussion on there, allow you to share, and it's going to be awesome. We have a lot of people that
very interactive. So if you're not yet in the private Facebook group and you are in, like you're committed, you're going to read the book, which isn't that difficult to do, but it's also easy not to do. But if you're committed and you're not in yet, just type in "I'm in," because we have to manually add you. We don't want a bunch of spam and a bunch of just random people joining. And it's very, we have some rules. We have some guidelines. Like if you start prospecting people, if you start pitching your company, you start posting links, like you're going to get booted out of there. This is just for us to grow. And it's like it's a no buffet zone. Okay.
No buffet.
Yeah. It's not going to be a free for all.
Awesome.
So let's dig into chapter.
Scotty is giving up news. That's amazing.
Scotty's the only guy that gave up TV. Well, I'm proud of you, Scotty. And
we have several people that have ordered the book, got it on Kindle, audio. Awesome. Well,
so let's cover chapter 1. Yeah. So chapter 1 is the law of intentionality. So just so you know how we're going to lay this out, today's chapter 1, tomorrow's chapter 2, and then we're going to wait till Monday to do chapter 3. So you got plenty of time. Dig in, meditate, chew on this. John actually recommends doing a chapter a week. But we don't have that long until the event, so we're going to do a chapter, every couple days or so. So the law of intentionality says growth doesn't just happen. Michelle, what are your thoughts?
I think there's something really amazing that happens when you're willing to sacrifice. It's one thing when it's convenient for you, but it's another thing when you're setting aside time and you're sacrificing and you're intentionally setting yourself up to do something. When you do that, I think it's like an act of saying, you know what, I mean business. I'm worth it. The time for me to invest in myself it's worth it. And so I think something very powerful happens when you cause something to be intentional. Yeah.
One of the things, because we don't want to just recap the whole book since a lot of you guys are reading along, but one of the things John talks about is in 1972, he got asked, hey, what's your personal growth plan? And he didn't have one. He stumbled for answers. And the guy that was presenting him had a package that he was selling. It was $799, which today would be a lot of money. In 1972, that was a month salary for John, a month's salary, $799. And most of us would say, I can't afford that. And instead of saying, how can I afford that? They would say, I can't afford that. So what John did is he skipped lunches, they skipped vacations, they scrimped, they saved. And because of that, he bought that package. And I believe that if he wouldn't have made that huge sacrifice, he wouldn't be what he is today. The law of sacrifice, which is covered in another book, says you got to give up to go up, which is, that's true. And who here on there who here on the Facebook Live would be willing to pay 1 month's salary for something? I heard John say at an event one time, he said everybody wants to do what I do. Like he had a guy come up while he was signing autographs, and the guy's like, man, I would love to do what you do. And John said, I know. And the guy's like, no, I don't think you get it. I would love to do what you do. And John's like, yeah, I know you would. See, everybody wants to do what I do, but not everybody's willing to do what I did. Does that make sense? Like there's a price that you have to pay, and you have to be intentional. One more thing I'm going to read, and then Michelle can share some thoughts, and we'll share some stories, some personal stories. This is too good to not read. It says, it occurred to John that if you focus on goals, you may hit goals, but that doesn't guarantee growth. If you focus on growth, you will grow and you'll always hit goals. So it's a great, it's a great perspective.
Yeah, one thought that I had as you were sharing is man, John Maxwell at one point didn't have the money to invest $700. Like, that just blows me away because he probably has more money than what he could do with right now. But
yeah, he sold like 25 million books. He's doing all right.
Yeah, so that just gives me hope, that he could go that far. And that, I mean, that should give all of us hope. But one of the things that I wanted to share, and I really thought about this, and as you know, we had a product launch this past week, and about intentionality leading up to the product launch, I was totally consumed with the product launch, right? It was like the very first time we've opened up a product to people that didn't know us. And it was very nerve-wracking because I just felt the pressure to have everything perfect, because we did a soft launch, but with our peers. And of course our peers are gonna like love it because they know us and they trust us. So anyway, I was consumed, and I was not intentional about, for the first time in like a long time, I was not intentional about my personal development. And the morning of our launch, I had a nervous breakdown. Like,
that's what she says. I don't know.
Adam was like, "Who are you? You're like not yourself, and what's going on?" And like, I just got quiet with the Lord, and I was just like, you know what? It's because I haven't like set my day and my tone of my day, and I haven't been personally developing. I haven't had my routine. I didn't have that intentionality. I allowed my day to control me. Like, I would wake up and immediately go to my emails, and I would end the day off the computer, and I never set aside that time for myself, and I ran myself ragged, and to the point where I had like a 3-day migraine. I was not myself. I was like a monster. You could ask him. No, but anyway, the reason why I share this with you,
put me on the spot,
is your whatever answer, it's wrong.
Hey, let's change the subject. Hey Vanette, hey Scotty, hey Lisa, hey Miss Rainey.
The reason why I'm sharing this is you look at every top performer and they have a routine. They're intentional about their personal growth and the routine that they have to set their day and to end their night. And the reason why every top performer does that, and I experienced this, is you like mentally can't handle it if you're not intentional about feeding your mind. Like we just think, oh, you kind of neglect and think like your mind doesn't need to be fed the right things, but it really does. And whatever you feed your mind is going to come out. And I heard this really cool saying that Chris Valentin said is, the kingdom inside you is what's going to be created in the kingdom outside. So whatever you're creating inside, that's what's going to translate to the outside. No matter how much you hope and wish that things would be different on the outside, it first starts within you. Yeah,
I didn't have this in my notes of what I wanted to cover, but just as she was sharing that, there's we've all heard the scripture probably in Romans that says, do not be conformed to the world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And I posted a picture a while back of this lump of coal representing conformed and this diamond representing transformed. And I believe that there's no middle ground. Like, if you are not intentional, you are automatically being pulled and being conformed to the world around you, to media, to the opinions of others, and you're just like, you're not leading, right? You're just being conformed. But if you're intentional, you're moving towards transformed. But if you stop, you're automatically pulled towards conformed. So I just want you to have that, that visual, right? You're either being transformed or you're being conformed. But if you're not intentional, if you don't make a choice, there's going to be a choice made for you. So a couple stories I had. Did you have anything along that? We wanted to cover some of the gaps. Did you have anything before we talked some of the gaps?
Yep.
So in the law of intentionality, there's some gaps. I'm going to read them off, and then I'm going to dive into one of them. The 8 gaps. There's the assumption gap. I assume that I will automatically grow. There is the knowledge gap. I don't know how to grow. There's the timing gap. It's not the right time to begin. I'm going to come back to that one. There's the mistake gap. I'm afraid of making mistakes. Nobody on here is afraid of making mistakes, right? You guys wouldn't want to admit that. We're all afraid of making mistakes. The perfection gap. I have to find the best way before I start. The inspiration gap. I don't feel like doing it. Have you ever said that? 1,000 times.
I want to come back to that.
Yeah, okay. So you're going to come back to that one. And then, all right, the comparison gap. Others are better than I am. So it's like, I'm not even going to try, right? And then there's the expectation gap. I thought it would be easier. Jim Rohn has a quote right here in that part of the book. It says, you cannot change your destination overnight, but you can change your direction overnight. That's good. So back to the timing gap. I just want to share a quick story because I think of how this relates to us. So exactly about a year ago, it was in August, we started our personal brand of Michelle and I want to do some online branding, marketing. So we created AdamandMichelleCarey.com, and then we figured, okay, are we ready for that? Are we ready to get on video? Are we ready to produce content? What if we can't think of enough ideas to share? What if? And so it was like, is it the right time? And you know what? You just have to do it, because what's that saying that any action is better than imperfect
action is better than no action.
There we go. So I got my quote master right there. So we started it, and you know what? Like, things worked out. We had to create a free gift. And so we started creating a free gift that people would get and subscribe. And you know what that turned into? It actually turned into a book. Our book that became a bestseller on Amazon was a mistake. Like, we just intended to write a 30-page ebook, turned into a 160-page book that now is getting like such recognition. It blows my mind. There's books getting sent all around the world on network marketing etiquette, on how to accelerate success, alleviate rejection, and elevate the profession. That was inside of us, and we didn't even know it. Like, it came out by mistake because we were taking some action. And we've actually had 3 reprints because we keep catching spelling errors and mistakes and things like that the editor didn't catch. But you know what? Like, we put it out there anyway, and the message still got clear. And then just kind of moving forward, it's blown my mind of just because we started something, at the end of this month, we get to be invited with 60 other leaders in network marketing to be a part of an event that John Maxwell's doing, one of my heroes, one of her heroes as well. But we got that visualization because we started a brand. If we would have never started our personal brand, we would have never been invited into that. Or the event in 2 weeks down in LA that we're getting invited to, a private event that Les Brown is going to be at, and we get to share the stage with Les. So, like, I feel like we could call him by his first name since we get to be
with
there.
Les.
Yeah. You know.
My man.
My man. So the point is what if we would have let our fear overwhelm us and say, you know what, we're not going to take out, it's not the right time. We need to get to a higher rank. We need to get to a higher income. We need to do this. No, just take some action. Like, there's going to be people ahead of you always. That's how you learn. But there's also people that would benefit from what you know if you could share. So I'm not telling you to start your own personal brand, but I just wanted to relate our story to the timing gap.
I would like to tie that into the comparison gap, which the comparison gap is something that I've struggled with, and sometimes I still find myself in the comparison game, and I have to like check myself and get out of it. But when we were starting that, I was like, you know what, like, who are we? Like, we're tiny compared to all of these people that have these big platforms. Like, how about if we're there and nobody wants to listen to us because, you know, we're not there yet, we haven't, you know, done what they've done. And I really think, like, when we get into the comparison game, I mean, that just really, it takes you completely off the journey that you're supposed to be on.
Yeah.
You know, and I still have to check myself in that. And here's one thing, I feel like I'm always quoting Chris Valentin because I'm like on his podcast all the time.
I hope Chris watches this. We better get some royalties,
but
Chris.
He said one time about, you know, this is what I've had to do is now when I see people are ahead of us, like, I'm like inspired by it because, you know, God is no respecter of persons. Like, what he'll do with them, he's going to do with you. So when you see people, and they're ahead of you, like, be inspired by that, not intimidated. And I know it's hard because it's easy to get intimidated by other people, but if God is going to do that for them, he's going to do that for you as well. And it's just, the trick is putting your faith in yourself and starting. And also when it comes to personal development, it's almost like having faith in yourself to start.
Yeah. You
know, and saying that, you know what, one, it's saying, like, I'm not where I need to be because of me, so I'm going to develop that. And it takes a lot to do that.
Yeah, I think one of the best ways we can be intentional is putting accountability in place. I know one of the areas that we struggle the most, if we could just be real for a minute, is eating and working out. Like, we love to eat. And like, we love to eat too much, and we enjoy we enjoy working out, but it's easy to like just check that off the priority list and let other things get in the way. And so we've been holding each other accountable for about 5 days in a row where we're like, all right, we're going to at least do a 30-minute workout. And like, I might not feel like it, but I go because she wants to go, and vice versa. And last night I was with a buddy, and we were chatting. We were actually working the children's ministry while they had a women's event, and we weren't really watching too many kids because we were hanging out talking. But we were just talking about our morning routine and how he's got 4 kids and another one on the way, and life's busy. They have a business and just not having enough time. And I said, let's be accountability partners for just having morning quiet time, prayer, and just responding to our day, not reacting. Like, there's a difference. Like, you can get up early, make time, and respond, or you can get up last minute and react and go crazy. And so I said, let's not do it for forever. Let's just do it for the month of September. And one of the ways that we're being intentional is we're just touching base every day. Well, that's going to be easy to miss. But what I did to be more intentional is I set a 6:30 a.m. reminder in my phone. So, I'm reminded to touch base. So it's just putting those little parameters in there, those little easy reminders of actually following through. Because even this Facebook group that we're doing, people saying, I'm in, I'm reading the book. We know that statistics are going to prove that not everybody's in. Like, you say you're in, but you're not going to follow through. So I really hope that you do follow through, and you grow. Like, you get a lot out of this. Like, we're having fun. It's more fun to go through this with you than on our own. So as we kind of bring this to a close, I think Michelle's got a little bit more info.
So I just wanted to go over the inspiration gap, because I think, a lot of us feel like, and this could really apply to your business as well. It's like, well, I'll do it when I feel like it. And motivation is kind of a mirage, you know what I mean? I think we put too much on motivation, whereas we think that we're going to feel motivated and then we're going to do something. But in reality, you have to act, and then you feel motivated to continue.
Yeah.
And so here's the trick about personal development is you're going to be fired up today, probably tomorrow, but during the weekend, and when Monday comes again, are you going to allow the inspiration gap to come in and say, okay, well, I just don't feel like it. I have all these things I need to do, or I'm really tired. I just want to go to bed. Or are you going to act and then you get the feeling? See, a lot of times we don't go to bed and say, oh man, here's what I struggle with. It's like, man, I really want to get on Pinterest and scroll because I love Pinterest, but I'm going to go ahead and open up my book right now, or my Kindle instead. And then after you read a page or a paragraph, you're like on a roll and you don't even want to put the book down. So that's the reality of personal growth and development is you're not always going to feel like it, but it's discipline that will get you through, and then suddenly you're going to be so used to it that you kind of become hungry for it, and when you're not personal development, you just don't feel like yourself.
You know what I struggle with at night?
Eating cereal.
It's like 10 o'clock. I'm like, man, I want a bowl of cereal right now. So I have just a story I want to end with. If you have anything else that you want to cover, we're going to land this plane. I don't know how long these Facebook Lives are going to go. But again, if you're not in the Facebook group and you want some accountability, please just say I'm in. We'll manually add you. Please post comments, interact. We're gonna have some giveaways, some prizes for those that interact. Even shoot videos like of a story or anything. Just upload as long as it's positive and it's inspirational. But I saw this video that was going viral on Facebook a while back. And it was like this. It was this chalkboard or this board in the middle of some major city. I think it was New York. And it said, write down your biggest regrets. Mm-hmm. And as people were going by and they were filling this board out, you know what people regretted? It was everything that people regretted. I'd say like 95% of what that board was filled up with was what people did not do. That was the biggest regret. Like, I regret not spending enough time with my dad before he passed. I regret not going to school. I regret not doing this. And none of them were really like, I regret doing this. It was I regret what I didn't do. And so you may not be able to grow in every area overnight, but you can be intentional about picking one and just moving forward and just stepping out and taking that risk and crushing fear, which is a topic we love to talk about. So you can find it online. I'm sure it's a great video.
We'll post the link.
We'll post the link in the comments of the video. Yeah. And so we're just really excited. Thank you guys. If I would really challenge you to commit to that live stream event too, to get your team on that. So go to multiply.with.maxwell.com, secure your ticket before the price goes up. Like, if you like this content, you like the book, I mean, imagine like an all-day event with him teaching with some other leaders. Yeah. It's going to be phenomenal. And you get the 30-day access.
Wait, what's tomorrow?
Tomorrow is
Thursday.
8.
So we do have a Facebook Live Thursday at 4 o'clock Pacific. We're calling it the 4 at 4. And
6 Central, 7 Eastern.
Yeah. So anyway, we're going to be going into chapter 2, Law of Awareness. And I'm actually really excited for this because I have a lot to share on my heart about it. And like one of it is going to be like, what do you do when you have all the, like, when you're living off of the expectations of other people? I know like that's something we've struggled with. Maybe you have too. So we'll talk about that and more. But anyway, dive into the chapters. Make sure you get your journal and answer the questions back here. And just take some time to reflect. And if you feel led to share your thoughts in the private group, we'd just love it if we would all interact. And so
yeah, I'm going to post this question in the group when we're done. It's in the back of chapter 1, which says, which of the gaps discussed in this chapter have caused you to neglect growing the way you perhaps could have? And so we'll list them, and I would just be curious, just for fun, just to see which one of those gaps, and we'll do our own as well, of if it's the assumption, the knowledge, the timing, mistake, etc., etc. And so, again, we want this group to be interactive. You're going to get out of it what you put into it. And thank you guys for joining us today for Facebook Live. So we'll see you tomorrow at 4 o'clock. God bless you, and happy growing. Awesome.